Okay, so this is the daily reading for July the 8th. This is John chapter 11. Now a certain man was sick named Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard therefore that he was sick, he stayed there 2 days in the same place where he was. Then after that he said to his disciples, Let us go into Judea again. His disciples said to him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone you, and do you desire to go there again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he can see the light of this world. But if a man walks in the night, he stumbles, because there is no light in him. These things he said, and after that he said to them, Our friend Lazarus is sleeping, but I will go that I may awake him out of sleep. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he is sleeping, he is doing well. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of just natural sleep. Then said Jesus to them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. Then when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had lain in the grave 4 days already. Now Bethany was near unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs away. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, whatsoever you will ask God, God will give it to you. Jesus said to her, Your brother shall rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when she had so said this, she went her way and called Mary, her sister, secretly, saying, The Master is come and calls for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met him. The Jews then which were with her in the house and comforted her, when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily and went out, followed her, saying, She's going to the grave to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Verse 33. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping which came with her, he groaned in his spirit, and was troubled, and said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then said the Jews, Behold how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man which opened the eyes of the blind have caused that even this man should not have died? Jesus therefore again, groaning in himself, came to the grave. It was a cave, and a stone lay upon it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of Lazarus, said to him, Lord, by this time he is stinking, for he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not say to you that if you would believe, that you would see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I knew that you hear me always. But because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that you have sent me. And when he had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus said to them, Loose him and let him go. Verse 45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Jesus did believed on him. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things that Jesus had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, What do we do? For this man is doing many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And so one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said to them, "You know nothing at all, nor consider that it is necessary for us that one man should die for the benefit of the people, and that the whole nation, rather than the whole nation perish." And this he spoke not of himself, but being the high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for the well-being of that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. Then from that day forth they took counsel together for to put him to death. Jesus therefore walked no more openly among the Jews, but went from there unto a country near to the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples. And the Jews' Passover was near at hand, and many went out of the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover, to purify themselves. Then they sought for Jesus, and spoke among themselves as they stood in the temple, "What do you think? Do you think that he will not come to the feast?" Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a commandment that if any man knew where he was, he should show it, that they might take him.